I have been applying to thousands of jobs the past couple of months, 6 months, years, and pretty much nothing has been substantial from it. And so I wanted to go through my entire process and what I believe is wrong with everything. After doing all this and struggling with this, I know a lot of other people have as well. You see so many headlines about even AI taking other people's jobs and the thousands of layoffs at those kind of tech companies. And then just with the job application process, and there has been, especially the past like 4 or 5 months, more articles coming out about the problems with it and what some companies are trying to do. I think a lot just don't even care because they know they're in the advantage right now when it comes to, the hiring process. And so if they think they can think what they think and it just works out. So I just wanted to go through a couple of things. I have applied probably to thousands of jobs at this point, probably more, specifically, lawyer jobs or compliance jobs, things that are kind of related, other remote jobs, and even part-time jobs too. I'll kind of go through that at the end as well, but I kind of wanted to focus more on the lawyer aspect because that is something, of course, that's more recent for me and what I've been doing. Also, don't mind, I know my face is kind of pink. Being in Arizona and air conditioning is very expensive. We turn it up during the day. And so for me, at least, the house is kind of warm. I prefer cooler weather. So being in a house that's about 80 degrees is quite hot for me. So that's why my face is kind of red. I just naturally turn pink when I'm really hot or when I'm really cold. So outside in the snow skiing, pink. Inside in the heat, pink. Just kind of how it is. But I'm totally fine. So I just wanted to go through. I think the biggest thing with job applications now are these AI systems that all these companies and the hiring boards, like LinkedIn Jobs or Indeed Jobs or whatever the platform may be, that they're really horrible and what they're searching for really isn't the best. I know a lot of other people have seen this and have thought about it as well. It really surprises me though, because there's so much technology and advances we have made and no one can create a good AI job sorter like through resumes and stuff. Like that's just like shocking. And I think, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, I think a lot of companies just don't care and people aren't wanting anything better in a sense. So no one is working on creating a better system. I wish I had the skills to do something like that, but I am not that tech savvy. I can't write code or anything like that. I can, make videos and stuff, but I'm nowhere near what would needed to be to fix that problem. But I think that is a big problem, and no matter how advanced it is, you still need help. Like I've even noticed this. We used AI systems for document research at the law firm, and they would still have an actual human lawyer go through and make sure what it pulled was correct, because you can program it to do certain stuff, but some things it just doesn't pull or it misses. And I think that's sad, is that so many of these systems, like, you see on like LinkedIn, for example, it says, 500 applicants. But then, the job remains open for 6 months, like they can't find anybody. And I'm pretty sure that at least a few of those people applying would qualify, but maybe their AI systems just aren't pulling anybody and maybe they're not in a rush. I don't know. But it's been really tough that way. I think those systems just need to get updated and rebooted. And, there's all these tools now like, if you're applying on this site, it has this AI system, so change your resume to fit that. And it's like the words are identical, maybe the structure of the resume, but it's not going to change, where I went to school, what degree I have, my job description, whatever it might be. And so I think that is kind of ruined the system also, that you're trying to tailor it, but when you're applying to hundreds or thousands of jobs, you can't change it for every different thing. And some of the online doesn't say what system that one works. So then you're like, oh, do I submit this style resume, this one? The exact same stuff, but just how it's formatted. And I think it's sad that so many jobs rely on just the format of a resume. It's It's crazy how that is. And I know some employers are trying to make changes. Like I've seen on some of the, when I've applied on the actual company website for jobs, some of them will say we have an actual human looking at your resume before we make a decision. And I think that it's crazy with all the technology and the point we've come to as society where it has to say that. I think that is a really good thing. I really think that those companies that are doing that at least try to make the process a little better and the effort. Like they'll at least normally send you an email saying, we went through your resume, sorry. But most companies now, like I'm sure anyone else who is searching for a job, they don't even send like, oh, sorry, we rejected you, blah, blah, blah. Some are automatic rejections, so you kind of know it's, AI systems going through and you didn't qualify in their eyes. But some of them, and that's part of the problem too, is a lot of them don't even reject you. I mean, you kind of know, okay, if they ghost you or don't say anything, that you've been rejected. But at least having that generic email of, a rejection and things like that. So that's really tough. Also, another big, there was even an article for the CEO of a big company. He applied to like a mid-level job at his company, one that he had previously, but lower. Of course, he didn't say he was the CEO, but even his resume got rejected. So I think that just goes to show how bad these systems really are. And I think that's one problem that is really making this job market terrible. You hear online sometimes a lot of companies or the government saying no one wants to work, no one wants to do this. But most people really are applying for jobs and they want to work, and we need to work. That's just, part of life, unless you're some rich trust fund person or something. But the majority of people do have to work, and we need jobs, and it's hard to even find. And then with less jobs, then it makes everything more competitive. So an entry-level job that, a college graduate would take previously, have people who have been working for 7-8 years. So then they can't get a job, and it just creates this really hard cycle. And being someone who's been living in it for over a year now, being unemployed, it has been really tough. And it's hard to even try to figure out what else to do. You use, ChatGPT and stuff to try and find companies with postings. But you even reach out to, I'll even look up, on the company, if there's someone mutual I see on LinkedIn, send a message or an email, and you don't get responses. Not responding, kind of like dating right now, also relates to job interviews. You have so many that just don't respond or even show up. I've had probably 5 to 10 interviews set up with different companies and law firms, Zoom interviews, and they just don't show. That is a big thing. A lot of times, some of them I've gone through multiple rounds of interview and then you just never hear back. So there's just a lot of ghosting and just no responsibility. And that's kind of sad too, because it's like I've spent, it's multiple interviews, hours talking with you guys, and you can't even send a 2-minute email saying, oh, sorry, we went with someone else. So that is quite frustrating as well. It's just the not responding, not showing up for interviews. Like I planned for this and now you don't show, or a couple like rescheduling, they don't show or respond. So that has been really tough. Also, recruiters are really big in the legal field, but those aren't too bad. You have so many reaching out though a lot of the time, especially once you've been in big law and they get your information. They're like, oh, I'll submit here and here, but really nothing comes of it. I've maybe only had a couple interviews from recruiters, and I've probably talked with like 30 recruiters or something that have my resume and claim or say that they are submitting it, but who knows? Because they do, part of their job is finding a job that their candidate gets picked for, because then they get paid and that's their commission. So they could have 50 interviews or 50, interviewees, and they pick what they think the company will want, their top 5. So that's really hard too, because you get hopeful, like, oh, they always say, I have a couple of jobs I'm looking for. I think you'd be great. You spend, thankfully, not a lot of time with them, 15, 20 minutes on the phone. But still, all that time really adds up, and your hope of them telling you that they have stuff. So that aspect of it has been really hard as well. And I think also too, just the general of AI and technology, there's a lot less jobs that there used to be. There's a lot of people. So they really have the advantage, and there's just less jobs in general. But even for, smaller, I've applied to coffee shops. I go in person, they're like, okay, you have to apply online. So I go apply online and I get rejected or I never hear back, and I contact them again and they're like, oh, sorry, we can't do anything. This is company policy and we just have to follow what's online. So it's like, okay, what do you do if you can't, apply in person, you can't apply online? It's just, the whole system, I think, is kind of broken, and I don't know if it'll get fixed and when it'll get fixed, but I think something hopefully in the next 5 years will change, so at least maybe for other people. But that is why I am trying to transition to do my own thing, trying to create my own videos and find my own space of something I can do, so something like this doesn't happen again, trying to rely on a company to get a job that could take years to find, that doesn't exist. It's not what I'm looking for. All these kind of different things that you have that you want and are, but not everyone wants to start their own business. I don't know if I really want to start my own business, whatever that might be. I'm not sure. I've always thought I'd like run some type of business, but especially now it's at a point where to get started with either like services or products or anything, you have to spend money, and there's really no money to spend. So trying to find something that's lower cost that I can do or supplement, or that's why I was looking at part-time jobs just to kind of have some money come in to use that to do something else. But it's just really hard. I think a lot of other people are struggling with this. This is my lawyer perspective on what the job market is now, what's wrong with it, and hopefully some people try and fix it. I know if I was a company, I would want, and I was hiring, I would want to look at resumes in person just to see, because I've worked with a lot of these AI systems and they miss a lot or misread things, even if it's, typed in a Word doc, whatever the case may be. So just, struggles of applying in this AI system, and it can be really great for a lot of things, but it can be really bad. And I think a lot of people are starting to open their eyes and see that when you have all these articles and news reports coming out about the struggles of people trying to find jobs and get something nowadays, whether you're a young graduate or someone who's experienced, and companies just kind of not caring and ghosting, and work there 25 years and then you just get laid off because now you're too expensive, and all the different things. So hopefully this relates to somebody else, or if anyone has any other ideas for things they have done to get a job, to get around all this kind of AI nonsense when it comes to applying, and things like that, just leave some comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.